There's no way that anyone participating in a Super Bowl is doing something for the first time that they've never done. I'm not buying it. I'm watching the game, and I'm looking around at the field, and I'm watching players slip all over. I'm thinking to myself, what is going on with this turf? I do a little research. Side story. In 2007 and 6 and 5, we were negotiating to get a new ballpark built. And one of the things that we were able to do in Miami is put in the budget to our owner, forget signing any good players. Forget being good. Let's trade Cabrera. But we got to put in the budget travel money for me and 4 of my guys to go to every stadium around the country and around the world because I'm looking at best practices. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, but I know I like going to these places. We'll put it in the budget. It's 67% from the public, 33% private. No problem. Travel budget for Samson. All right, SEC. I'm just kidding. Of course I didn't charge the public for me to go. We just traded a utility infielder. Or whatever, a Hall of Fame infielder. Take your pick. So we're going around ballpark to ballpark, stadium to stadium. Give us a tour. We went to AT&T and looked at Dallas and looked at his suite, and Jerry Jones has this private elevator that he takes that he can only get from one place to another so no one can go near him. It's like the Wilpon elevator in Citi Field. I like that. We wanted to get a private elevator. Didn't quite work. Didn't have the space. But whatever, it's a good idea. We get to Glendale, Arizona. Who doesn't like going to Arizona? If you've never been to Phoenix, Arizona, or Scottsdale, Arizona, you'll notice a couple things. Number one, there's no grass that's not inside a store within a white piece of rolling paper. That's it. Either you're golfing or you're smoking. That's the only thing. There's no lawns with grass. So we go tour the facility, and they say, we got to show you this. If you're building a ballpark in Miami, you're really going to want this. And I said, what? Come, it's a surprise. We're going to show you. This is while it was happening. Look at the parking lot. So we go to the parking lot, we walk around, and all of a sudden, as far as the eyes can see, I'm looking at a football field. And I say, that's weird. Why is there a football field in your parking lot? And they say, no, watch this. Yeah, crank it up, Johnny. It rolls back into the stadium. Wait a minute, you grow your grass by having it in the sunlight in the parking lot? And you only put it inside the actual stadium when there are events and when there's things that need this playing field? It's brilliant. How cool is that? Go back to Miami and say, can we do that? And they say, what, are you kidding me? You already don't have enough parking. You're making us build 4 parking structures. People are going to still go blocky, no blocky. There's no way you're going to do it. By the way, it's an extra $300 million. Hey, would you like to spend the extra $300? Well, David, we're pretty tapped out on the public side. Are you sure? Yeah, we're pretty sure. All right, we'll just put grass, regular grass in Marlins Park. Little did we know at that time, we'd need solar lights because the sun was not properly hitting the grass. Therefore, the grass was not properly growing. And if you're going to Marlins Park in all those years, you'd see brown spots all the time. But then we'd paint them green. Ha ha. The players would come into the clubhouse. This is Coca. This actually happens. Players would come into the clubhouse in their jerseys if they dived on the ground or if they dove on the ground and they dove in a patch that we had painted. They would get green paint all over their jerseys, and it was super hard to get out. So there were clubbies who had to do the laundry extra times, or we had extra uniforms because for outfielders who were diving, it's a problem. You're diving on the dirt, you're good. You're diving in the outfield, not so bueno. And there were patches of all this paint all the time. And to make it look good, we didn't want brown because it looked crappy, so you paint it. It still looks crappy from above where the Clevelander was, but people in the Clevelander, what did they care what color it was? The only paint they cared about was on the women. Anyway, so we can't do what they were doing in Phoenix because we didn't have the space. And I thought it was brilliant until I read yesterday that the National Football League did something for the last 2 years. Never rehearsed on it, never practiced on it. They built a field elsewhere and rolled it in for the Super Bowl, never having played on it. The players come out pregame, they're wearing a set of cleats. Here's what players have in their bag. When you get if you're a player like Ichiro or Jalen Hurts, or you're a player who uses speed, or you're an offensive lineman, there's different types of cleats that you use. Sometimes they're metal, sometimes they're plastic, sometimes you wear what's called turf shoes, which are like golfing shoes almost. They're not, they're no cleats at all. And you have multiple pairs of different cleats because you're not exactly sure how field's going to play. If it rains and it's a wet track, that's one set of cleats. If it snows, that's a different track. If the ground is frozen, if it's soft, they have all these different shoes. And they've used all these different shoes. They know how they feel. They know if they get blisters. They know how it's good for their bunions. So this is very, very common. Jalen Hurts goes out there and plays, comes back in the second half or the second quarter, says, "This is horrific. This field, I have no traction." Changes his cleats. Hassan Reddick actually said after the game, it's the worst field he's ever played on. So Olsen the whole time was saying, there's something going on with this field. I've not seen players slip like this. This could have an impact. They showed a kickoff where the kicker's plant foot slipped. The kick still went off, but it could have been a problem. The last field goal of the game. Hey, look out. Patrick Mahomes was doing what he was supposed to do, centering the ball, kneeing it right where it's supposed to be for a game-winning walk-off, except it's right on the painted part, and people have been slip-sliding away. Paul Simon, he made the field goal. The NFL thought that it would be good to use grass for the first time that had never been used because, hey, 2 years, $800,000, golf course grass. It's a winner. There's more divots there than when I play 9 holes.